So Anant Chaudhary is here. Good afternoon, Anant.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you? You are late today.
Yes, I'm late by 2 minutes.
And because only two of
Sorry.
you are there, so it is very important for me to basically talk to you as well. How are you? You are there in class or
Good, sir. Good. I'm fine. How are you?
you are visiting somewhere? You are on the move or something? You are there in at home?
Yes, yes, I'm at home, sir.
Video is on? Can you switch on your
No,
video?
video is not.
Video is not there?
Sure.
Only audio?
No, video is there. No, video is there.
Ah, Anant Chaudhary. So video is also there. So the class from home, work from home ki jagah, we are having class from home.
Class from home.
So
Yes.
good, you two are there, and we already had an introductory part. So what I was telling you today, class of HR analytics or training analytics is very important because today they talk about the statistical tools for analytics. And as a Sudeep, what I was mentioning,
Yes, sir.
as a HR head or as a training head, wherever you work, I mean, you must be aware about these developments. And those developments basically they guide you to accept the new technology, to enhance your capability basically, or enhance the productivity of the organization. So that way it is very important, right?
Yeah.
Anant, any question you have?
Not yet, sir. I missed the introduction. I think you were talking about the tools, some topics on which you couldn't focus more because of the structure that was provided to you by ISTD.
Yeah. So next slide will show you those thing what I think I was trying to tell. If you see the course coverage in 7 classes, if you remember, it all started from introduction to analytics. Then what is HR analytics? Then in 3rd class, we discussed about the design, implementation, and measurement of HR strategy. Right?
Yeah.
In 4th class, we talked about analytics in training and development. So we basically HR analytics connected with training and development. And last class, we discussed exclusively on ROI, because as per the 3 documents which I have been mentioning again and again to you, one document especially talk about ROI, and that is what we discussed last class. And today is the statistical tools for analytics of HR data. So what I was telling, because they have decided the topic HR analytics or training analytics. However, they thought in HR analytics, because I mean, you all are maybe new to this analytics part, so give some enough time for introduction, then understanding what is HR analytics, then talk about the design, implementation, measurement, and HR strategy. Then talk about how the HR analytics is connected to training and development, and then discuss ROI also, and then think about the statistical tools. But what I was trying to tell you, statistical tools is supposed to be the crux, heart of the HR analytics, basically. Once HR analytics, when we discussed about, if you remember, I especially mentioned about the social sites, because social sites is the basically tool or resources which are available to us almost free of cost. We are not paying extra because there are so many services. Because when the phone is available to me, mobile phone, it is not just giving me one service. It is giving me plethora of services. And in that case, what happens? cost of any particular service becomes almost negligible. Are you getting what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because earlier, if you remember, we used to have a phone, telephone. Telephone was for the communication. This mobile phone we got for communication, but at the same time, it can do internet. You see, it's a miracle almost. And in the internet, when it came the social sites, so what happened? And came with a camera. So I can take the video and transmit video to anyone anytime. You see the luxury.
Yeah.
So almost the cost on which we used to have a phone, especially on the monthly basis, if you see expenditure, it is less than that. Today we have the mobile phone and data which are available to us. So it's almost like all these services are almost free, and that's how it creates a lot of data from any users basically. And that is what the news thing have come. Even in HR analytics, it came because the most of the people, users, clients, customer, even staff, they all have mobile phones.
Yeah.
And all these people create data. And that's how we talked about the big data, right? So we discussed all this. And then now today we are talking about statistical tools. From my point of view, this was very, very essential part, but it's okay. That is the way distributed. And that is what in exams or even in assignments, you are required to have distributed information so that you have the broad knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. And in next class is basically course review. So in this perspective, what I was telling, the today class was very important. Anand Chaudhary,
Yes, sir.
what is your opinion? I agree with this makes sense of statistical tools for analytics of HR data.
No,
Is
totally
more
agree with you, sir, because
more important.
tools, yes, sir. Tools are more important because tools are something how we are going to deal with this data. Data generation sites, data generation processes which have changed. That was all to understand the theory, but the practical that we are going to do in our offices, in our workplaces, that has to do maximum with the tools and how we are able to use that. So I think, yeah, tools
Right.
was more important to understand as compared to the theory part.
Right. And I remember in the earlier class, I think Anand Chaudhary or somebody very nicely explained. You explained how the data are generated and big data are created. So somebody mentioned about these things. So that is what is the crux actually. Social sites. One is the mobile phone is available all the time. Mobile phone is available with internet that creates a resource. And then there are social sites. This Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, these were not available 10 or 15 years back. And that's how there was a necessity to introduce HR analytics or training analytics in your course curriculum. And it became very, very important. So fortunately, if I become diploma in charge sometime, I mean, I will say these thing is very important for all HR professionals to understand. And then it will enhance your capability basically to make use of technology the way account people are using technology to their advantage. So HR people also must use technology to their advantage in whatever way possible. And that can only happen. That can only happen if you get very comfortable with all the resources what we have at our hand, at our disposal, starting from mobile phone to social sites to internet to websites to big data to analytics and all those things, right? Okay. So the moment, suppose, because there was a time when, I mean, a lot of people could live without even using these devices and tools. But today you can't. You have to use in whatever way possible, and you have to use very effective way. And that's what makes you very effective, and will make you basically, it will help you to compete with your peer groups in better way. Okay. I reintroduce this slide for digital disruptions because when we talk about HR analytics, many of us may not accept or realize the importance of these. But once you understand these things are happening in front of us, like Uber. Uber is happening in front of us. Most of us are using this Ola, Uber for years now. And they are basically the technology which have disrupted our way of thinking. I mean, it has to change our perceptions up to some extent. And that is what the challenge we have to face. You must have heard about Airbnb, Skype, Alibaba, Facebook, Netflix, Apple, and even the Zoom applications where we are taking class today. And plus, there are so many applications. You see, so many these things are changing the way we are required or connect with the business and profits. You all must have heard about Zomato.
Yeah, of course.
Zomato, that is supposed to be the Indian company, and they have changed the way business can be done. Zomato have no restaurants. Zomato don't make foods. Zomato have no resources basically of their own, caterer or waiter or any such thing. Zomato have young individual on their bike, right, with the Zomato bag on the back, and they are doing business, and they have developed the business of crores of rupees. They came to the market also. If you take interest in the market, you must be knowing they started the share price with the 70. Today, share price is 140 rupees, and it is growing. And it's like a miracle. I mean, almost the few guy who got together with the software applications, and they created Zomato. And outside, the people don't know, if he doesn't have the restaurant, how can he do the business of food? If he doesn't have the provisional store, how can he do the business of getting the stationery or food item to the houses? But they are doing it. And that is not only Zomato. If you see, there are so many such businesses which are going all around us, and most of us are using those businesses without realizing. They are changing our perceptions. They are disrupting our existing life the way we have been doing. And that is what, when you understand with this course and content and subject and syllabus, if you understand as a HR person, you will find they have disrupted our existing way of thinking. They have disrupted our existing way of considering the business. And that is what I think in the days to come, and it's rising. I think you must have heard about the Paytm. They have gone to IPO, and shortly they will be in the market. Even Paytm also does almost the services which we never imagined. which we never imagined. The Paytm, there will be a company who will help us through our mobile. Hello.
Yes.
Through our mobile, and they will help us to get those things, basically those facilities or features which we never imagined. I mean, but it is happening. The Paytm basically is the application and company. They provide you all those features which were unimaginable, and it's almost like no contact and touchless payment. You can pay electricity bill, you can pay telephone bill, you can pay to other individual, you can just scan and pay to any vendors. You can pay 30 rupees, you can pay 60 rupees, and even a small amount or big amount that can be done. So these are the digital disruption which are happening in front of our eyes. Only thing, if we ignore these, then we may not accept the reality. But if we keep our eyes open and ears open, we can see this, we can feel this, and we are required to leave. Hello.
Yes,
Sorry, Sudeep. I think my internet
Yeah.
is between.
Yeah.
So now I think it's again okay. Anant, are you getting me?
Yes, yes. Yes, sir, I'm able to hear you.
Okay. So my internet, I think, got interrupted. So we are back to slide presentation. Okay. From current slide. Okay, so these were about the digital disruptions. So that's how the need for training and HR analytics came in picture, right? So we discussed about the all in, starting from introduction to design to ROI, various aspects of training and learning analytics. Now we talk about the tools HR analytics uses. As a HR head or HR professional or training professionals, there may not be the necessity of going too deep, because all these applications, tools, what we talk about, they are very deep. I mean, some of you can take interest and go deep in this and become a software professionals. I think I have seen, Sudeep,
Yes, sir.
if you agree with me, there are a lot of professional last 10 years or 15, 20 years. Even suppose they have done hotel management or they have done mechanical engineering, they switch over to the software professional because there are easy job, and one can learn. If you have the interest, you can learn the software and making applications or writing code, and
Yeah.
then you can get a good job and good salary in this.
Yeah.
So you will find a lot of people have switched over their profession. You agree?
Yeah, of course.
It's happening. It's
Yeah.
happening because of this. So as per the scope of this particular session, as you agree, I think with me, we'll just touch upon what are these different analytics tools which helps us to achieve HR analytics basically. Arnav,
Good afternoon,
good
sir.
afternoon. How are you?
Good, sir. Good.
You came?
Actually, I had my second vaccination today, so just came back.
Oh. That's congratulations. Good. You are now
Finally,
totally
finally.
vaccinated. Now we can have chat with you.
Physically, yes, we can meet even more.
We can have a physical class, I think, next semester.
Correct.
But then you people are completing, so that's good.
Yeah.
No problem. So we are talking about today analytics tools actually, right? So you came at a very right time. This is the slide where we have shown the list of HR analytics tools which are in use. So anytime you listen about these, you can take more interest, you can learn. But for today's class, I will touch upon these tools one by one and give you the brief idea about what are they basically. It's all starting from R. You just R programming, they call it. Then Python, many of you must have heard in HR. Python coding is also very important. Lot of they personalize coding basically depending upon the organization. I think if you take interest, you may basically go for this and give some suggestions, or even sit with the software professionals or programmers who code and make basically the analysis or data as you wish, basically as a HR professionals. So all these things can be done. Similarly, Excel, many of you must have used also and seeing it. Power BI, Tableau, Visor, Click, SPSS, CP, Cplex Optimizer, and all these things, right? I think most of them I will try to touch upon one by one. Okay, so that you get some idea about these tools which are available to us. Any question, Arno?
Not really, sir. Not now. Just
Not now. So coming to our programming, I mean, I have just tried to little simplify and clear few of the points. R is a programming language focused on statistical and graphical analysis. Simple. R is a programming language. You must have heard about the C is a programming language. C plus is a programming language. C plus plus. Before that, there was a basic COBOL, and there were a lot of programming language. Similarly, R is also a programming language, and it is focused on statistical and graphical analysis, right? It is therefore commonly used in statistical inferences, data analysis, and machine learning. You see, machine learning is again now very new emerging topic. Machine learning we are using because anybody who can explain this machine learning little bit? Sudeep?
Not much idea, sir.
Not much idea. Arnav? You see what happens, you all know machine. Machine is what? This machine. This is the machine, mobile. This also could be the machine. So what happens basically, there are so many applications you will see, they train this machine to become more effective. Are you getting what I am trying to say? That is the way machine learning itself is becoming a huge topic, because they do it. You know how
similar to, sir, is it similar to AI? Like, for example, the machine learns as the artificial intelligence learns. Is it same or it is little different?
you see, the word AI is basically mentioned as, you see, you understand this machine, if it guides me to move from Noida to Dholakwa, GPS is there. So it guides me to move from Noida to Dholakwa. There is some software written. That is called AI, artificial intelligence, because nobody is individually guiding me. This machine is guiding me. Now, when I go every day from Noida to Dholakwa, this machine improves in guiding me. You know how? Because the machine is given machine learning. It learns that some software program is made in this machine, which basically helps this machine to improve in guiding me from moving to Noida to Dholak. Are you getting? Arnav,
Yes, sir. Yes,
are
sir.
you getting the difference between AI and machine learning?
Correct, correct, correct. Understood.
AI is a artificial intelligence. Suppose we create a robot for some operation. That is AI, right?
Okay.
If that robot has some kind of programming which helps it to improve in the process, that is called machine learning. So there is a little difference between AI and machine learning.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Are you getting? So nowadays machine learning is becoming very famous because people feel any improvement, I mean any machine, this is a machine, and any machine can be improved on its own if we make some program on this. Similarly, in GPS also they have made some program and they keep improving it. Are you getting?
Okay. Okay.
They use those big data, what we have earlier read, big data, and they use those big data basically for the machine learning. They teach machine itself to improve it.
Okay.
And that's how they keep improving.
Okay,
Okay.
sir. Understood. Understood.
So R is currently right. So that is what is therefore commonly used in statistical inference, data analysis, and machine learning. R is currently one of the most requested programming language in the data science job market. You see, simple, because this is famous, this is simple, and this programming can be done. And in data science job market, this is the most requested programming language. Okay, so this is our programming. As a HR personnel, HR executive, you must be aware about this and see if you can also learn something about our programming, know more about it, where they are used, how they are used, and all those things, right? This is a list of just why learn R. And very simply, it is in a very simple form, it is written. It is an open source language, means anybody can write. There is no much cost involved in it, because in most of the language, what happens, there are cost involved. It is an open source language, means it's almost free and it is available free. So you can do programming if you know, or you can sit with the IT personnel to do programming for the analysis which you want as a HR professional. And that is important. Cross-platform compatible. It is simple. It is compatible with the other platform. Advanced statistical language. Okay. Then it creates the outstanding graphs. It creates a lot of good graphs. If you see the features, it will just, give you surprise. Relates to other languages. There are other software language which are used, as I mentioned about the C, C+, or anything. So this R is again connected with the relates to other language. There are vast community for R. There are a lot of people who are using this language. So it becomes easy. You will find it's very well conversant and a lot of people are using it. So you can also use it. So you will find there are group, there are community and all. Then you have the support extensions. There are a lot of extensions, support extension, extremely comprehensive. It's basically very extremely comprehensive. So it helps to basically go deep also. Suppose you in HR, you want to analyze some data for your HR activities or HR factors basically. It is extremely comprehensive, flexible and fun. It's basically the easy to use, flexible, and have a lot of fun element in it, right? Okay. this Python programming, I think most of the HR professional I have met, they mention about this Python programming. Any one of you have used ever in Python programming in some way in your company or in any way? No one? So Python is a programming language. Again, Python is also a programming language like R, C, C++, and all those. It's a programming language that lets you work more quickly and integrate your systems more effectively. Right? Python is a programming language that lets you work more quickly and integrate your systems more effectively. So it can integrate your various systems. Like in HR, different factors, different matrices you want to connect, it helps you to integrate. You can learn to use Python and see almost immediate gains in productivity and lower maintenance cost. So it is good. It helps you to gain productivity and lower maintenance cost. So that is the beauty, because ultimately the cost should be less and productivity should be increased. So Python, this programming helps. And Python is also used to build ERP. You know ERP and e-commerce systems. So Python is a very extensive program, you can say, in the sense, even R is a very extensive programming language. Python is also good programming language, and it basically helps you to build ERP. You must have heard about SAP.
Sir,
Anybody?
used it. Yes, sir. Used it.
Used it. So it basically, the Python programming helps to build ERP. You know ERP? Sudeep?
Yes, sir.
ERP.
Yes, sir. Enterprise resource plan.
Enterprise resource planning. The SAP is used for enterprise resource planning, starting from the manpower planning to the accounts,
Accounts.
right?
Yeah.
Even it helps in all kind of the manpower planning,
Hmm.
basically, and then it helps in accounts as well.
Yeah.
So SAP is a very extensive ERP, you can say. It helps the complete organization to integrate and connect various aspects of HR activities. No?
Yeah.
You have used this somewhere in your company?
Yes, sir. I have used.
Where in HEC? Sorry.
No. When I was in NTPC, it was not used. I've used it in Delhi airport and then Honda.
Delhi Airport and Honda. Yes, they must be using SAP. You see, big company, basically, they have used SAP. And SAP is a very, very effective, I think, but very lengthy programming.
हाँ, उसका निकनेम भी पड़ गया था सर, सारे आदमी परेशान.
It's a very lengthy. I think even in India, I find there are a lot of software people who work on SAP, but they don't know how to basically connect and integrate in the companies, smaller companies, especially they fail to do. Because in big company, you see the requirements are more, and then it can be connected, and then it helps basically, because it's a very costly software.
It's very rigid also.
And very rigid, very rigid. So if a small company have a very flexible, you're right, some flexible or this SAP will not work.
Yeah.
So that is the, I think, challenge. So Python helps it basically build ERP as well as e-commerce systems. So you all must have heard about a lot of e-commerce application or software. Python is used for those programming also. Okay. So there is a comparison, R versus Python. Comparison between R and Python has been absolutely one of the hottest topic in data science communities. Now you know R, I know Python, so we will fight each other. We will say, you will say R is good, I will say Python is good, and that is the way it goes on. But it's all debatable because R has its own features Python will have its own feature in any software languages. If you see, whether we talk about even the OS, you must have heard about the or the Microsoft language. Basically, these all they keep fighting each other, and they say one is better, one other is better. Even you all must have heard about the fight between Microsoft Bill Gates and Apple's Steve Jobs. I mean, these two guys fought completely for last 30 years, basically, for their supremacy, and both rule the world from my point of view. And once Bill Gates left the place, you will find the Steve Jobs control the arena. And Apple is quite famous. I mean, today, what Apple used to give, I mean, they dominate the scene. Okay, so you will find the Apple machine is much costlier than the Windows software or Windows machine, you can say. Are you aware about these? So similarly, the fight between R and Python also goes. R came from a statisticians community, whereas Python came from the computer science test community. So there is a statistician and computer scientist. So they fight each other. And down the line also becomes you, me, and Arnav and Anand. So we all keep fighting. So that is the way it goes on. Python is said to be a challenger against R, but in general, it is a tie. It is up to you to choose the one that best fits your need. So you as a HR head, if you have to decide about whether you are going to use R or whether you are going to use Python, basically you have to study what your company wants and what this software can provide you. So that is what the tricky thing you all have to face and then decide. So ultimately, it is upon the company. They have to decide. Like in anything, I mean, that is the way you decide. Okay. Have you ever faced any such situation in deciding about either the computer machine also or the software programming language? Ever? Huh? Sudeep? Okay. If not, then I think move to Power BI. Arnav? Have you ever faced the competition between these computers? Even computers, I think, because there are 2, 3 makes and there is always a competition. Anant,
Yes, sir.
what I was asking, have you faced any such competitions in using the computer or programming or language? Any such thing ever in your
Sir, I'd say that competition between Android and Apple users is so common.
Android
Everyone
and
have,
Apple? Okay.
yes. So these are both the operating system for their the mobiles, and even if we talk about browsers, there is a big debate on using Chrome or Safari. And
Right.
now, keeping privacy in mind, there are new browsers which have come into the market like DuckDuckGo. So
Okay.
they promise that will
What is
keep your
DumDum?
data.
DumDum
It's
Go.
a new browser. So it's DuckDuckGo.
Duck Duck.
Yes, DuckDuckGo.
Acha. Okay. So what is the fight
It's a
going on?
so it's a new browser, and they
Is it
promise to
internet?
keep your data or whatever search you do on that, keeping your
Okay.
privacy in mind. They don't sell your data, just like Google, and
That is
when you
what they
type anything in
claim.
Google, yes.
Basically, they are trying to compete with the Internet Explorer or something.
Yes,
No.
Internet Explorer is already out of the market. Its market share has shrunk so much since
Acha,
Chrome
it
has
is
come.
already out.
Yes, Chrome is now the biggest browser in the market. and any new browser which is coming in the market is now competing against Chrome only.
Okay, yes. So this DuckDuckGo also basically fighting with Chrome.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so DuckDuckGo claims what?
So they claim that whatever you search using Chrome, using Google, they basically your data or your search history is kind of
Are
visible
sold.
to everyone, are
Okay,
sold. Yes,
and
and their laws, the DuckDuckGo's laws and their privacy laws are more stringent. They keep
okay,
your data. They don't sell it to third parties.
right. So they claim data privacy is more in the DuckDuckGo.
Yes.
So that is the way. And what about the like Chrome is I think very handy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Am
And
I
sir,
correct? But DuckDuckGo, how you find is it very handy or useful, simple to use?
So it is usually all search engines, they work on the how the data is uh, or arranged in different files. So whenever we search something, the data is archived in a way, in a chronological order, that and plus on the basis of the traffic, you get your search results. So DuckDuckGo is not that much organized as compared to Google, because obviously it's a smaller organization. They have a small team to categorize data in different formats.
Is this a
But for
Chinese company?
no,
DuckDuckGo?
it's a US based browser.
US only. Okay.
Yes.
So they are only fighting.
Yes.
I think that is the way fight. Even what I said, mentioned about the Microsoft and Apple, that last 30 years fight. So they also basically all Americans. And you must have seen the fights between the computer even, laptop or computer machines from
even Oracle Microsoft is
IBM. Yes, Arnav? Oracle?
I was saying
Hello?
Oracle Microsoft also are competitors. Oracle Microsoft are also traditional competitors in a way.
Oracle and Microsoft.
Yeah.
Basically the
Data
data
base. Yeah,
for
the data part.
database.
Yeah.
Yes, they are also very competitive. I mean, people have been fighting and they themselves also fight. Oracle also, they maintain their own dignity and space.
Correct.
And Microsoft becomes cost effective and so many other things comes in picture. So what I was mentioning about the computer also, the IBM or HP or Dell, there also the fight goes on like this. So similarly, the HR analytics tools also, which we are discussing now, R, Python, you will find that those kind of competitions and fight goes on. Okay. So moving forward, we talk about the Power BI, and Power BI is also very famous. Power BI is a data visualization and business intelligence tool that converts data from different data sources to interactive dashboard and BI reports, right? So this data visualization also may be the new word for you people, but just to explain, anybody are aware about data visualization? Anand, you have been mentioning about. So this data visualization, yes, please go ahead, unmute and speak. Anand, you wanted
Right.
to
So
say
yes, sir, data visualization. We have been using this for some time now. Earlier, we used to represent data in the form of different graphs or different ways, but that has evolved now to become a dashboard where we use multiple graphs. We have pie chart, we have a bar graph, and upward arrows and downward arrows to represent different
what
movement
is
of
this?
data.
what is this data visualization? I mean, this word, if you
So-
can explain a bit, because
Yes,
you
sir.
are.
So my understanding of this,
Hello.
yes, sir, my understanding of data visualization is basically representing the data which is in the forms of numbers in a spreadsheet, representing that data in a way that is easily understandable in a visual form, in the forms of graphs or charts, that it is easily understandable by the stakeholders.
Right. Basically, the data visualization, I mean, you are almost correct, but data visualization, this term we use basically when your data from the spreadsheet, it moves to the cloud. And in cloud, they are connected with so many other data. So that data visualization basically, that is called data visualization. There you have the bulk of data from different sources, and that helps you to create the business intelligence tool. And that is what is written. The Power BI is a data visualization. Power BI is a data visualization, means the data on the cloud, and business intelligence tool that converts data from different data sources to interactive dashboard and BI reports. So ultimately, those data in the cloud creates some kind of business intelligence, and that basically helps to create the interactive dashboard and BI reports. Are you getting? Okay.
Yes, sir. Understood, sir.
So that is the what is presently this means. The Power BI suite provides multiple software, connector and services. Power BI desktop, Power BI service based on SaaS, and mobile Power BI apps available for different platforms. This SaaS is also the software as a service. Basically, what happens, that a lot of people are creating a different software, small software for meeting some applications. Suppose you want to collect the data of the people who have worked for how long, and they have growth, they have the professional growth in the company, so that that data can be used, or application can be used at the time of promotion of those group of people. Suppose you have 10 managers in your company, and if suppose they have the varied experience from 6 years to 10 years, so all those data for the last 10 years, if you get collected and created some software where management needs those data to decide about the promotion or some assignments, so those kind of software also can be created. Ultimately, you see the overall picture of basically these software. They give you or create some kind of business intelligence for the managers or management to take a decision. I think that is what, I mean, mainly the software or computers are supposed to provide you. So this Power BI is also one of those, and these are the brief introduction about these. Okay. Tabule is also very famous, and it is a business intelligence tool like the Power BI we talked about for visually analyzing the data. This Tabule is used basically, and they are using the word visually analyzing the data. Means Tabule is, the word also depicts, there are various kind of shape, either graph or chart or in different colors. Those are, so visually you can see and anybody can know. Like in graph chart, if you see, we can always know. Suppose somebody has worked years, how many years the experience in the particular job. So those can be represented in, suppose, graph. Somebody has 3 years experience, somebody has 3.1 year experience, somebody has 4 years experience, and those things can be listed and can be used. Similarly, users can create and distribute an interactive and shareable dashboard. With Tabule, we can say we can create and distribute an interactive and shareable dashboard which depict the trends, variations, and density of the data in the form of graphs and charts. Tabule can connect to files, relational and big data sources to acquire and process data. So Tabule is also the business intelligence tool, basically the programming, which creates different formats of shape, either graph or chart or something like this, which helps visually analyzing the data. So it can basically the users can create and distribute the interactive and shareable dashboard, which depicts the trend, variations, and density of the data in the form of graph and charts. Tabule can connect to files, relational and big data sources to acquire and process data. The software allows data blending and real-time collaboration, which makes it very unique. Right? It is used by business, academic researchers, and many government organizations for visual data analysis. So this is the way Tabule can be used. Any one of you have used this Tabule in your company? No. But certainly it is a very powerful tool and that can be used. But it is good you know, and if you have more interest, you can try to find more about this. Similarly, Vizier. Vizier software can be used to track recruiting statistics as well as the effectiveness of learning and performance management. So many of HR activities, the concerns about recruiting and learning and performance management. So this Vizier can be used for tracking these. Vizier is a company that sells software for workforce analytics and workforce planning. So we all have read about the workforce analytics in last few sessions. We have seen, and workforce planning. This software can be used in doing this. It is based in both Vancouver, British Columbia, San Jose, and California. It's again American company and British company. They have the office there. Vizier seeks to help HR managers become more strategic and important to the business. So if you want to be more effective, you must be able to convince your boss or CEO of the company to get these software applications, because this will help you to strengthen your capability with the help of the software. Similarly, ClickView. ClickView is a business intelligence tool for data integration, conversational analytics, and converting raw data into a knowledge base. Right? So any intelligence tool basically it must convert raw data into a knowledge base. And that is what the feature of the software. So software is supposed to do. ClickView offers features for ad hoc queries and facilitates quick decision making based on easily accessible information. So this is also good software for the decision making. Now again the competition, which is better, Tabule and QuickView. Tabule is considered more user friendly because of its easy drag and drop capability. Tabule is basically when you see the chart and graph, so that becomes very easy and that is can be seen. But QuickView gives better performance because of its patented associative technology, which allows for in-memory processing the table and at the same time circumvents the use of OLAP cubing. OLAP is basically online analytical processing tools. So Tabule might be good for basically the statistical, static data which you have in your company, but ClickView is basically online analytical processing. If you have some data which are available online, suppose the consumer use or users input or user information, so those data are basically online. Similarly, when we were talking about the GPS kind of thing, so those data are basically changing again and again. So if we are using those online data, so click view may be the better, but for static data, tabulae is again better. So it all depends upon what you like to use for. Now you must have seen the list, and if you remember, we talk about the SPSS. It's a statistical package for the social sciences and a commonly used computer package in business, government, research, and academic organization. So a lot of even in AIMS and other research institutions, this SPSS are used basically. They collect data either from the patients or from the for the disease, and they do the processing and generating the basically the decision making graph or intelligence, business intelligence. So that is what we need to do. It's a statistical package for the social science. So that is what we call basic and advanced statistical analysis, disruptive statistic, gross tabulation, correlation. So all those things are there, right? So SPSS is also very effective and important, and lot of research we are using it. So ultimately, I mean, we listed about these tools, HR analytics tools, and now the main question as a HR professional comes: how to choose the right HR analytics tool? So for that, if you see, to select the most appropriate HR analytics software tool, it is crucial to know what you want to achieve. I mean, that is normal in any life. When you want to use the machine, or you want to use the software, or you want to use any applications, ultimately you should see what you want to achieve. Get a grip on your data and create HR dashboards. Go for the tool like Power BI, Tableau, or Click. These tools make data aggregation and data visualization quite simple, right? Further, get some basic insights in your company and employee data. You have to literally get involved basically to understand the importance of these. Because if you keep yourself far from these, it is not easy to perceive. It will not come to your mind, and you will not be able to distinguish between R, Python, Quick Fix, or Tabulae. So go for a simpler tool like Excel or SPSS. Excel is generally used in most of the company in various forms to collect data, and even for business intelligence. Thoroughly analyze HR data and make predictions. Go for data analysis tools like Python or R. Simplex Optimizer is for more prescriptive, as it helps you to make the best decision. So that is the way basically we can, in general, decide about the HR analytics tools. Okay, so this is what I think we had HR analytics tools for today. And HR analytics tools are essential for the business of 21st century. And as I always say, this part is basically one is more important than other. And ultimately, in all 6 classes which we have covered, and if you remember the first class, we talked about starting from the introduction to ROI to tools. It's all very important, right? Any question? Sudeep, are you there? Arnav?
No question, sir.
No question. We got an idea about HR analytics tools.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's good. So you can, and you can contact me anytime. I mean, you have not done, but now exam is very near, and I hope you are doing a project work also started in some way or other.
Yes, sir.
Because you must finish the course in time and try to complete this course, ISTD course. Because the moment you slack any time, na, it will go on and it will just get prolonged. So
Yeah.
don't do it. Finish the course, submit the assignments, and give the exams. Right?
Right,
Yeah,
sir.
sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any question?
No, sir.
You can switch on your video also if you want.
Yeah, sure.
Then if there is no question, then I think Anand, are you there? Okay, Sudeep.
Yes, sir.
So hope you come at 2. And I request others also, if you have no other pressing commitment, you can join the class at 2 as well for talent management. And then you can attend the class for the OD last, so that you get the idea of both the elective papers.
Yeah.
Right? I
Sure.
think it will be good.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
See you.
Thank you, sir.
And if you have any question, you can always
Thank you,
write
sir.
or
Yeah.
connect me with the WhatsApp or email or anything like
Sure.
that. Okay.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
sir. Thank you.